Hello, and welcome to our webinar, Winter Young Readers Announcements. I'm Julia Smith, Senior Editor, Books for Youth at Booklist. Before we begin, I'd like to go over some technical details. The audience is in listen-only mode, but we welcome any questions you may have. On the bottom of your screen is a toolbar with a section for Q&A. If you have a question or need technical assistance, simply click Q&A and type your message into the box that appears. We will do our best to respond to all tech-related questions, and we'll pass along all other questions to today's panelists so they can follow up with you after the webinar. The links to today's slides and title list were included in the reminder email you received from Zoom 1 hour ago. To download them, please open that email, scroll to the bottom, and click on the links located there. You can also download these materials at any time by copying the URLs on this screen into your web browser. Today, we have the pleasure of hearing from Amanda Livingston, Marketing Coordinator at Simon & Schuster Children's Publishing, Donna Spurlock, Marketing Director at Charlesbridge Publishing, Vicki Van Sickle, Director of Marketing and Publicity at Tundra Books, and Jenny Choi, Associate Director, School and Library at Abrams Books. First, we'll hear from Amanda Livingston. Amanda is a marketing coordinator on the education and library team at Simon & Schuster. She comes from a family of writers and teachers. After reading The School Story by Andrew Clements as a second grader, she knew that working in and with books would be her destiny. Her favorite books include ITTY-BITTY by Catherine Hannigan and The Princess Bride by William Goldman. She is a graduate of the NYU Publishing Digital and Print Media Master's Program and loves living in Brooklyn, New York. Welcome, Amanda. The floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amanda Livingston, and I'm on the Simon & Schuster Education and Library team. I'm excited to bring you titles for younger readers in the current and coming seasons that we're excited about and talk about why you should be excited about them too. We actually have a lot to talk about, so let's dive in. First, we have Sled for Gabo by Emma Otherguy with illustrations by Ana Ramirez Gonzalez. The snowy day meets the last stop on Market Street in this heartwarming picture book classic in the making about a young boy who is in a new town and doesn't have much, but with the help of a loving community discovers the joys of his first snowy day. On the day it snows, Gabo sees kids tugging sleds up the hill, then coasting down, whooping all the while. Gabo wishes he could join them, but his hat is too small and he doesn't have boots or a sled. But he does have warm and welcoming neighbors in his new town who will help him solve the problem in the sweetest way possible. Sled for Gabo is also available in Spanish, is for readers ages 4 through 8, and is on sale January 5th, 2021. Next slide, please. From the Newbery Honor-winning author of Genesis Begins Again, Alicia D. Williams, comes a shimmering picture book that shines the light on Zora Neale Hurston, the writer and story catcher extraordinaire who changed the face of American literature. Zora was a girl who hankered for tales like bees for honey. Her mom always told her that if she wanted something, to jump at the sun, because even though you might not land quite that high, at least you'd get off the ground. So Zora jumped from place to place, from the porch of the general store where she listened to folktales, to Howard University, to Harlem. And everywhere she jumped, she shined sunlight on the tales most people hadn't been bothered to listen to until Zora. The tales no one had written down until Zora. Tales on a whole culture of literature overlooked until Zora jumped. With an uplifting message that focuses on a strong female role model, this book is perfect for young readers and a great refresher on Zora Neale Hurston's life. Jump at the Sun is illustrated by Jacqueline Alcantara, is for readers ages 4 through 8, and is on sale January 12th, 2021. Next slide, please. Next up, we have Ducks on the Road. From Caldecott Honor artist Anita Lobel comes a touching and classically vivid illustrated story of a family of ducks out for a walk and the surprises they meet along the way. When a family of ducks goes out for a walk, their path takes them in unexpected directions, and maybe even to some new friends. Little ones will delight in counting ducks 1 through 10 and identifying the other animals the duck family meets on their country walk. This is Anita's first original book since 2014, and we have more to come. Ducks on the Road teaches counting and is a reassuring story of family and friendship for young readers ages 4 through 8. It's on sale January 19th, 2021. Next slide. Next, I'd like to talk to you all about The Farmer and the Monkey, or The Farmer and the Circus, the third in Marla Frazee's trilogy of wordless picture books, all starring the same characters. The first was The Farmer and the Clown, published in the fall of 2014, and the second is The Farmer and the Monkey, published in the fall of this year. In The Farmer and the Monkey, the little clown, or in The Farmer and the Circus, the little clown and monkey miss their friend, the farmer. They spend their days playing farmer together until one day they get a surprise. Farmer has come to visit the circus. What will happen when he meets the rest of the circus family? Sweet, humorous, and full of emotion, this third and final book in Marla Frazee's stunning trilogy is sure to become a classic favorite for young readers ages 4 through 8. It's on sale April 6, 2021, and we also have a box set of the whole series. Next slide. Curls by Ruth Foreman, illustrated by Geneva Bowers, is a board book that stars 5 friends who celebrate the joy and confidence that comes from a perfect hairstyle. From bouncing curls to swinging braids, author Ruth Foreman channels past books like I Like Myself, I Love My Hair, as well as Beautiful. Yet her poetic approach has a fresh take on a subject told simply, playfully, and beautifully. When Ruth, the author's daughter, came home from pre-K and complained that she hated her hair, Ruth was inspired and wrote her this love song to African-American hair. Curls delivers a lovely and poetic story that embraces diversity, is for readers ages 4 through 8, and is on sale December 22nd, 2020. When a brother and sister go for a walk, their imaginations turn the ordinary into the extraordinary in this sweet and whimsical picture book. Pup is pulling, Maisie is pushing, and Jonah is looking and listening as the 3 of them set off on their daily dog walk. But what begins as a chore becomes an unexpected celebration of imagination as their neighborhood transforms. Maisie sees a butterfly, Jonah sees a popsicle garden, Maisie sees the postman, Jonah sees a sky slide, and is that a tree of cats? Differences are what bring richness to the everyday in this gorgeous homage to the wonders of the world around us and the worlds we can create if only we stop to look and listen. Kids are always being told to use their imaginations. But when? Where? How? This is a story about finding the extraordinary in the ordinary, day to day, and using your imagination in every situation. By Richard Jackson with illustrations by Patrice Barton, ICUC is for readers ages 4 and up and is on sale February 16th, 2021. Next slide, please. Now we're on to our Ready to Reads. Ready to Reads are our series for young readers that bring the focus back to fun while still offering parents, librarians, and educators well-crafted imaginative stories that adhere to the latest recommended beginning reader guidelines. They all are published in hardback, paperback, and ebook. First up, we have Bug in the Bog. From Theodore Seuss Geisel honor-winning author and illustrator Jonathan Fenske comes a funny, rhyming, pre-level 1 ready-to-read with a twist ending. See the bug in the bog. See the frog in the bog. Will the frog eat the bug in the bog? Find out what happens in this laugh-out-loud, pre-level 1 ready-to-read with an ending you will not see coming. This book is for readers ages 3 to 5 and is on sale December 8th, 2020. Next slide. The Robin Hill School first graders celebrate Pajama Day in this level 1 ready to read, the 30th book in the Robin Hill School series. The Robin Hill School series is by Margaret McNamara, who gets many ideas from her daughter's own school experiences. In this book, it's Pajama Day. All of the students at Robin Hill School are wearing pajamas to show their school spirit, but Emma forgot. Who will come to her rescue? Pajama Day is for readers ages 4 through 6 and is on sale December 8th, 2020. Next slide. From critically acclaimed and prolific author of more than 380 books for children, Jane Yolen, comes a hilarious level 2 ready to read. Get ready for the interrupting cow to meet the chicken crossing the road. Why did the chicken cross the road? Was it to get to the other side, or was there more to the story? Read this hilarious book and see what happens when the interrupting cow meets the famous chicken crossing the road. The first book in this series got a rave review from Circus. I'll read it to you. Yolen's side-splitting early reader series opener cleverly personifies the misunderstood subject of the classic joke. The full-color illustrations add to the hilarity with expressive cartoon character designs. With a total vocabulary of fewer than 200 words, including lots of synonyms, and at most 9 lines per page, the text stays accessible to emerging readers. The most difficult word, interrupting, is even spelled out phonetically. a barrel, or rather a barn of laughs. Interrupting Cow and the Chicken Crossing the Road is for readers ages 5 through 7 and is on sale December 8th, 2020. Next slide, please. In a series of adorable ready-to-reads, award-winning author Patricia Lacken tells the story of two hamsters who live in a classroom as pets. In each story, these furry friends learn about a holiday or event and make a tie and craft that readers learn to make too, thanks to simple instructions in the back of each book. This time, Patricia is back with a level 1 ready-to-read starring the adorable hamsters Max and Mo. It's the 100th day of school, and Max and Mo cannot wait to celebrate. The hamsters have so much fun making festive crowns and practicing their counting skills by making necklaces with 100 beads. Follow along with Max and Mo using simple instructions at the back of the book for kids to make a fun activity and play a game celebrating the 100th day of school. Max and Mo's 100th day of school is on sale November 17th, 2020, and is for readers ages 4 through 6. Next slide, please. Discover the natural wonders of Yosemite National Park as Newbery Honor recipient and New York Times bestselling author Marion Dane Bauer takes you on a tour of one of our country's greatest treasures in Yosemite, a level 1 ready-to-read. Exquisite waterfalls, giant granite cliffs, ample hiking trails, and stunning views. These are just a few of the things that make Yosemite National Park one of the most popular parks in the world. Beginning readers will love exploring and learning about the beauty and grandeur of this iconic park in this informative book. Bauer's clear, concise text combined with Wallace's bright illustrations make these perfect for young readers. Yosemite is for readers ages 4 through 6 and is on sale December 8th, 2020. Next slide. Super Facts for Super Kids is a fun and fresh take on nonfiction for beginning readers, filled with engaging photographs, comic-style illustrations, and cool infographics. This level 2 ready-to-read series about animals is sure to flip, float, and fly off the shelves. Coming up in this series, we have 2 books. First up, Polar Bear Fur Isn't White. Did you know that polar bear fur isn't actually white? Or that polar bears often have twins and clean their fur by rolling around in the snow? Readers will love learning about polar bears in this book that presents amazing facts in a highly visual way for young readers. A back matter section dives into how climate change is affecting polar bear habitats and some things kids can do every day to help. This title is available December 1st, 2020. We also have Alligators and Crocodiles Can't Chew. Alligators and crocodiles are strong enough to bite through bone, but did you know they can't chew their food? Readers will love learning about what makes alligators and crocodiles super, as well as how to tell the two animals apart. The back matter discusses the conservation success story of the previously endangered American alligator. This title is available January 26, 2021. Both of these titles are for Both of these titles are for readers ages 5 through 7 and are great nonfiction additions to your classroom or library. And now you can do next slide. Lastly, I'd like to introduce to you Little Simon graphic novel chapter books, all on sale February 2nd, 2021, all for readers ages 5 through 9 and available in paperback, hardcover, and ebook. Graphic novels are one of the hottest segments of the children's book market, but there's a lack of options for emerging readers who might not be ready to tackle the edgier, more sophisticated stories that are the norm for this format. Little Simon graphic novels are chock full of the adventure, action, and humor emerging readers are looking for, with age-appropriate text, amazing illustrations, and perfectly paced storytelling. The team behind the successful homegrown Little Simon chapter book series have turned their expertise to graphic novels, just as the Little Simon chapter books are the ideal bridge format for emerging readers who have outgrown leveled readers but might not be ready for more complicated chapter books. Little Simon graphic novels are the perfect introduction to this exciting new format. So we have 3 series to launch these books. First up, we have Super Turbo Saves the Day, and Super Turbo versus the Flying Ninja Squirrels. In Super Turbo Saves the Day, Turbo the hamster is the official classroom pet of Classroom C at Sunnyview Elementary, and he has a top secret identity as Super Turbo, crime-fighting superhero. He can't believe it when he finds out he's not the only super pet in town or in school. As he meets fellow super pets, such as Angelina the guinea pig, aka Wonder Pig, and Frank the rabbit, aka Boss Bunny, he also encounters a supervillain, a rat who goes by the name of Whiskerface. Can Turbo and the Super Pet Superhero League save the school from Whiskerface and his rat pack? In Super Turbo versus the Flying Ninja Squirrels, Turbo and his pals in the Super Pet Superhero League are in super big trouble when the flying ninja squirrels that live in the tree outside the school accuse them of stealing their sacred golden acorn. Truth be told, Professor Turtle is in possession of it. That's why he's been so speedy lately. But he didn't steal it. Can the Super Pets and Ninja Squirrels work it out and join forces to battle the real evil that's lurking in the shadows of Sunnyvale Elementary? You'll have to read to find out. Next, we have Dragon Kingdom of Renly, the Cold Fire Curse. As the pampered pet dragon of the Prince of Renly, Ruskin has never known life beyond the walls of the palace, until now. A young dragon from Crestwood has come to the palace to plead for help from the king. An evil curse has been unleashed in Crestwood and threatens to destroy all of Renly. But before long, the king falls ill from the curse, leaving it up to Ruskin and his new dragon friends to end the curse. But the mission ahead of them is as dangerous as it is seemingly possible. Will Ruskin risk it all to try and save his kingdom? We also have Shadow Hills from the Dragon Kingdom of Renly. This time, a royal errand brings the gang to Shadow Hills, home to the most mysterious creatures in all of Renly, the Shadow Dragons. Legend says that shadow dragons are hostile to outsiders and cannot be trusted. But that's not how it seems to Ruskin and his friends. They find the shadow dragons to be friendly and welcoming, so much so that the young dragons decide they want to help them reverse the curse that has them stuck living in the shadows. Will Ruskin, Cinder, and Groth be able to bring color and light to Shadow Hills? You'll have to read to find out. And lastly, from the Little Simon graphic novel chapter books launch is Pup Detectives, The First Case and the Tiger's Eye. In the first case, puppy PI Ryder Wolfson thinks he's the only detective at Pauston Elementary, but while bringing down a pencil theft ring, he finds out there are other super sleuths at school. Fortunately, or not, there's plenty of crime happening at Pauston, so Ryder joins forces with the other puppy PIs to form the PI Pack, the best and only detective group at school. Their first case is high stakes because it hits every student in the belly. A lunchtime bandit is stealing the best food from the cafeteria. Will the pup detectives bring the noodle napper to justice, or will the hungry students of Pawson be left to endure a soup surprise for lunch every day? Lastly, in the Tiger's Eye, fresh off of their victory in nabbing the lunchtime bandit, Ryder Wolfson and the rest of the pup detectives are on the lookout for the next case. They don't have to wait long because before you can say bow wowza, a crime occurs, the theft of a precious statue known as the Tiger's Eye that was on display for show and tell. The suspects are aplenty, but the key to catching this crook will come from uncovering who had a motive. The PI Pack is up for the challenge as long as the investigation doesn't interfere with lunch. And that's all for the Little Simon graphic novel chapter books launch. And that's all we have. Please feel free to visit simonschuster.net for more info. Sign up for our monthly newsletters, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest, linked here in the presentation. I run our social media, so I'll definitely keep an eye out for your messages and DMs. Please feel free to visit the book pantry where we have reading group and curriculum guides, author of the month features, recommendations, and more. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Amanda. Next, we'll be hearing from Donna Spurlock. Donna is the marketing director at Charlesbridge Publishing. Prior to the publishing life, Donna was a bookseller and a buyer at Rizzoli Bookstore in Boston. During the pandemic, Donna had every intention of reading the classics not assigned in high school, but instead has read lots of how-to and life hack books and has taught herself to knit, organize kitchen drawers, fold fitted sheets, and make the perfect Monte Cristo sandwich. Hint, it's the Spam. Take it away, Donna.
Thanks so much. Hi, everyone. I'm Donna with Charlesbridge, and I'm so glad to be with you today. And thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're all doing well. And this spring we have, and winter, we have some beautiful new books coming your way. Can I have the next slide? Oh, and let's just go forward to the next one. So first up is Desert Diary by Michael O. Tunnell. May Yanagi was 8 years old when she started school in the Topaz War Relocation Center, a square mile of Utah desert. Her third grade class kept an illustrated diary full of details about schoolwork, sports, pets, and holidays, as experienced behind archival photos and interviews with May Yanagi and her former classmates convey the harsh challenges experienced by the children of the prison camp, as well as their remarkable resilience. This unique primary source serves as a timely warning of what can happen when a government condones incarceration based on racism. If we can move ahead. Michael's storytelling creates a nuanced, sensitive, completely gripping portrayal of Japanese American children coping with upheaval, And while it's honest about difficult historical reality, it is infused with an underlying belief in the resilience of everyday people, particularly children. It includes front matter, back matter, including an author's note, glossary, source notes, index. It has maps, photographs, and reproductions of diary pages. Michael has done copious historical research and interviewed many of the surviving members of May Yanagi's third grade class. This dark period in American history took place only 75 years ago. We are seeing immigrants and refugees from Central America and Mexico being housed in those former internment camps. Desert Diary tells a story that's relevance rings true for children in our own backyard today. In its starred review, School Library Journal called the book an illuminating addition to all library shelves that challenges readers to think about how people can learn from history and its reverberations. And Desert Diary is available now. Next slide is Luna's Yum Yum Dim Sum. This is on our brand new storytelling math series. Now, think of math picture books for ages 0 to 5. What comes to mind? If you're like most adults, you think of books about counting or shapes. The books that come to mind are likely to feature animals or white main characters, rather than reflecting current US demographics, in which young children of color predominate. Why don't we tend to think of books that offer a wider range of math topics, feature appeal to a broad audience, and are written by authors of color? Charlesbridge has partnered with the math and science experts at the nonprofit Turk and the Heising Simons Foundation to create just such books. In Luna's Yum Yum Dim Sum by Natasha Yim, it's Luna's birthday. Her family goes out for dim sum, but Luna and her brothers can't agree on how to share their pork buns fairly. How can 3 people divide up 5 buns? Should some siblings get more than others, or should they cut the buns into smaller and smaller pieces so everyone gets the same amount? It's a playful exploration of division and fractions, featuring Chinese American characters and a cultural note. Natasha Yim has created a culturally authentic story that can serve as either window or mirror for readers. Back matter includes a note from math experts about math and ideas for helping children with everyday math at home. Simple activities and conversation starters make exploring math fun and easy. No expertise or special together several related strands in what math educators call number sense, comparing amounts such as more, less, and equal, sharing or dividing up amounts, and counting to find out how many. The characters also develop a beginning understanding of fractions, such as cutting something in half yields 2 pieces, each of which is smaller than the whole. And maybe just as important, young readers learn a lesson about sharing and empathy. This book is released in December. Next, please. Next up is 10 Beautiful Things by Molly Beth Griffin. This just received a starred review in Booklist. Thank you so very much. Lily and her grandmother search for 10 beautiful things as they take a long car ride to Iowa and Lily's new home with Gran. At first, Lily sees nothing beautiful in the April slush and cloudy sky. Soon, though, Lily can see beauty in unexpected places, from the smell of spring mud to a cloud shaped like a swan. Storm mirrors Lily's anxiety, but as it clears, Lily discovers the 10th beautiful thing, Lily and Gran and their love for each other. 10 Beautiful Things leaves the exact cause of Lily's move ambiguous, making it perfect for anyone helping a child navigate change, whether it be the loss of a parent, entering or leaving a foster home, or moving. Next slide. Mindfulness and growth mindset are taught in schools. Oh, I'm sorry, this is still 10 Beautiful Things. Mindfulness and growth mindset are taught in schools and promoted in the home with significant benefit to young children. And Maribel Lechuga is my brand new favorite illustrator. Her work is full of light and depth, and she is also the illustrator of SEASIDE STROLL, which is coming up soon in the Book Buzz. But next is 10 Animals in Antarctica by Moira Court. It's time to meet 10 land and sea animals that live in Antarctica, from sailing leopard seals to discovering the many unique animals of our chilliest continent in this beautiful rhyming counting book. The author's use of a pair of rhyming adjectives to describe each animal is unique and engaging, and 10 different action verbs keep the text humming along. Next slide. Moira Court's distinctive illustrations are created by hand using layered woodblock prints, screen prints, and collage. And next slide. Antarctica is becoming a timely topic, often in the news due to climate change, and more resources about it are needed. Next up is 1,000 White Butterflies by Jessica Betancourt Perez and Karen Lynn Williams. Isabella has recently arrived from Colombia with her mother and abuela. She misses Papa, who is still in South America. It's her first day of school, her Make New Friends Day, but when classes are canceled because of too much snow, Isabella misses warm green Colombia more than ever. Then Isabella meets Katie and finds out that making friends in the cold is easier than she thought. Next slide. The universal theme of making friends and starting at a new school is something that many kids, immigrants or not, can relate to and be inspired by. Throughout the story, Isabella has agency and is responsible for her own actions and reactions. Next slide. Spanish words are interspersed with English words throughout, and a glossary is included in the back matter. And this story includes important intergenerational relationships. Both co-author Jessica Betancourt Perez, who immigrated as a teen, and illustrator Gina Maldonado are Colombian. Immigration is an important topic, and the book acts as a window for kids who might meet immigrant classmates and a mirror for kids who are new to the country of their school. Next up is Seaside Stroll by Charles Trevino and is illustrated by Maribel Lechuga. In this unique seaside setting, we explore the beach in winter with the letter S, celebrating the natural silence of an off-season location. The snow, surf, and sand are brought together in this lovely story of discovery. Kids and their grown-ups will enjoy the wordplay and the visual cues and details included in the illustrations. Next slide. Charles Trevino is the program coordinator of the American Sign Language Interpreter Training Technology program at Lone Star College. He was inspired by ASL poetry when creating the structure for this, his first picture book. Next slide. Back matter includes an author's note about the word choices in the book and parts of speech used, as well as a note about exploring a beach in winter, what animals you might see, sculpting with snow and sand side by side, the colors of a winter sky and sea, and more. Next up is 13 Ways to Eat a Fly by Sue Heavenrich. Science meets subtraction in this fresh and funny STEM picture book. A swarm of 13 flies buzzes along the way. Whether the unfortunate insects are zapped or wrapped, liquefied or zombified, the science is real and hilariously gross. Includes a guide to eating bugs, complete with nutritional information for a single serving of flies. Next slide. Complete with an ooh factor, this story cleverly incorporates both science and subtraction and illustrates the predator-prey relationship. Active, engaging sidebars deliver just the right amount of information, and the catchy rhyming main text makes for a strong read aloud. Next slide. And David Clark's hilarious cartoon art will have readers laughing as they learn. Back matter includes more information about the animals highlighted and the nature of predators and prey. And that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoy. Please feel free to reach out to me at my email or follow us on all of our socials. Check out our website. If you have any questions, just let me know.
Thank you so much, Donna. Our next presenter will be Vicki Van Sickle. Vicki is the Director of Marketing and Publicity at Penguin Random House Canada Young Readers. She is also the author of a number of acclaimed novels for children, including The Winnowing and the picture books Teddy Bear of the Year and If I Had a Griffin. Vicky started her career as a bookseller at the Flying Dragon Bookshop in Toronto and credits her love of children's books to the teachers and librarians who saw a spark and fed it with lots of books and encouragement. Thanks for joining us today, Vicky.
Thanks, Julia. Next slide, please. And next slide. So the first book I want to talk to you about today is the latest picture book masterpiece from the internationally acclaimed Fan brothers, joined for the first time by a third Fan brother, Devin Fan. This epic tale is a tour de force and demonstrates everything readers have come to love from the Fan brothers: magic-tinged world building, emotional journeys, and spectacular art. Deep underground, beneath perfect pets, where children can buy genetically engineered perfect creatures, there is a secret lab. Barnabas and his friends live in this lab, but none of them is perfect. They are all failed projects. Barnabas has never been outside his bell jar, yet he dreams of one day seeing the world above the ground. So he decides it's time for him and the others to escape. With his little trunk and a lot of cooperation and courage, Barnabas sets out to find freedom and a place where he and his friends can finally be accepted for who they are. This book was an indie bestseller, has received 5-star reviews, and we're also starting to see it pop up on the best of year lists. Next slide. We have some learning resources for this that you could do at home, in the classroom, or at the library. And we also think it's a really beautiful holiday gift book. It's also a very interesting introduction to a genre, as it has kind of a vintage sci-fi adventure vibe. Next slide. Next, we have a Tundra classic, now in a new format. The Hockey Sweater is a quintessential sports story that has been a short story, a children's picture book, a radio drama, a family musical, and now a board book. With over 230,000 copies sold of the picture book alone, we thought it was time for an abridged version. This is a great gift for a new baby and the perfect addition to any hockey-loving family's library. Next slide. The Little Ghost Who Was a Quilt was a breakout hit for us earlier this fall, landing on the indie bestseller list and garnering a ton of online love. The concept is very simple. Instead of a light, airy sheet, this ghost is made of a quilt, which makes him a little bit clumsier and gives him a bit of an identity crisis, until his path crosses with a little girl and her mother who think the little ghost is just perfect as a quilt. This story about self-acceptance has a retro vibe and is more sweet than spooky. I think it has a life far outside the Halloween season, as quilts are perfect for the winter, and this is the ideal book to cozy up under your own quilt and share with a loved one. Next slide. One of the joys of this book being out in the world is seeing how Instagrammers have been inspired to make their own quilts and pillows inspired by the actual little ghost quilt in the book. Crafters and quilters alike are really coming to this story, and it's almost enough to make me want to take up quilting. Almost. Next slide. Next, we have a very popular duo, Narwhal and Jelly, joined by the mysterious Mary Mermicorn in an underwater holiday adventure. Like all Narwhal and Jelly books, there are 3 short stories followed with nonfiction facts, all in a graphic novel format. Narwhal and Jelly defined the early graphic novel category, a unique space that exists between readers and chapter books. In addition to the extremely cute art, the funny, lighthearted dialogue and buoyant optimism has made this a best-selling series with over 2 million copies in print and many awards to its name. Next slide. We're leaning into the holiday spirit with a downloadable event kit, and we're also looking forward to celebrating Narwhalidays on November 18th online. This is a non-denominational story and makes a great stocking stuffer, and we also think it has excellent curriculum connections, as do all of the other Narwhal and Jelly books. Next slide. This next picture book is a surefire storytime hit, pitting 2 storytime titans, princesses, and dinosaurs in a lighthearted battle that will determine who is the star of this book. Princesses and dinosaurs are evergreen storytime heroes, and you will find a full range of both characters in the book, including boy princesses. This is a book parents and kids will be reading over and over again. Next slide. We have lots of learning resources for this, and we think this is a great read aloud with many curriculum connections, including metafiction, inclusivity, and diversity. Next slide. Bobby Orr and the Hand-Me-Down Skates is based on a true story from Bobby Orr's childhood as told by children's author Kara Kutstra. Bobby Orr is known as one of the greatest hockey players of all time, but he had humble beginnings, learning to skate on hand-me-down skates. Hockey is an incredibly expensive sport, and this book addresses the reality of that. For those of you who are not into sports, this is the hockey equivalent of Dolly Parton's Coat of Many Colors, and a story that many families will relate to. Next slide. As it gets a little colder and a little darker, although maybe not this week, if you're anywhere like I am, we're having wonderful weather, it's time to reach for cozy seasonal picture books like Snow Falls. This story has a simple rhythmic text that is soothing and comforting. The art is bright and vibrant and moves away from a traditional snow palette of silver and gray to introduce other brighter colors. There's also an element of seek and find, and kids will enjoy finding the scarf and the bird on each spread. This is a book that feels like a classic, and kids will enjoy returning to it at the start of each season, the same way they reach for a favorite scarf. Next slide. Now we're getting into some of our spring titles. The first is Outside Art. This is a great winter-spring pick featuring woodland creatures in a snowy Pacific Northwest setting. In rising star Madeline Clopper's upcoming picture book, a cast of animals watches a human putting colors on a board using a furry stick. Pine Martin learns from Chickadee that human is actually an artist and is busy making art. But what is art? Soon of all the animals in the forest are wondering, why is human doing this? Is it a warning? Is it looking for a mate? Is there any meaning at all? And if human can make art, why can't the animals too? This is a subtle celebration of art and the natural world, perfectly positioned for classroom use. We're creating an activity sheet and resources that encourage similar explorations into the art and the outdoors. Next slide. 10 Little Dumplings is the first picture book by Larissa Fan, who is in fact a sister of the Fan brothers. Based on a short film made by the author and inspired by her father's family in Taiwan, 10 Little Dumplings looks at some unhappy truths about the place of girls in our world in an accessible, inspiring, and ultimately hopeful way. If one son is lucky, then 10 must be great indeed. But where does that leave an only daughter? This Own Voices story has many curriculum collections, including feminism, folklore, historical and cultural context, Chinese New Year, Asian American, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month connections. We're also creating an activity sheet to encourage classroom adoption and working on a fun felted dumpling craft with the author. Next slide. This next picture book also has a message of female empowerment and falls under a category we like to call Women You Should Know. Author Jill Heinerth is one of the very few female cave divers and was inspired to write this book to encourage children to follow their hearts and forge new paths for themselves. This is not a biography, but Jamie Kim's luminous art transports readers back and forth through time to see how Jill's imagination as a young girl laid the pathway to her accomplishments and experiences as an underwater explorer. We love Jamie Kim's art, and every spread of this book could be a poster. Next slide. Next, we have Even More Narwhal and Jelly, starring in their own original board book series. These are the same lovable, upbeat characters in a new format that is perfect for the youngest readers. These board books celebrate the imagination as Narwhal and Jelly explore the many uses of a blankie and the wonder of bubbles. We think this is perfect for baby showers and also a great introduction to the Narwhal and Jelly books that are so beloved around the world. Next slide. Nonfiction continues to be ever popular in the 6 to 9-year-old age range, and this new series is perfect for kids who want facts and humor. Join Celeste the cockroach as she shares her tips and tricks for avoiding predators. Some of them great, some of them funny. Author Rachel Pulkin is known for her quirky approach to nonfiction subject matter and is perfectly matched with up-and-coming illustrator Catherine Durst, whose art you may recognize from last year's New York Times best-selling picture book, Hey Grandude. This is a great new series for fans of the Disgusting Critters with lots of curriculum and STEM connections, and we'll be working on a teacher's guide to help with classroom adoption. Next slide. Maya's Big Scene is the third book in the Mile End Kids series, featuring a group of kids in Montreal's Mile End neighborhood. The kids in these books have been compared to a contemporary Peanuts gang or a Montreal-style Sesame Street. Each book follows one of the kids in the neighborhood, and this time it's Maya's time to shine. Maya is an aspiring playwright, director, and generally the queen of all she surveys. But Maya's enthusiasm for control and exacting standards could derail her latest production, a feminist revolutionary piece. This is a great story about being a team player and what it takes to be a good leader, while never diminishing Maya's innate leadership skills. This picture book is told in graphic novel style with panels and speech bubbles, making it a sort of picture book graphic novel hybrid. You do not need to read the Mile End Kids books in any particular order, but once you've read one, you'll want to read them all. Next. The Secret Fawn is a beautiful ode to spring and the natural world. Ellie McKay's cut paper art, which is carefully arranged in a paper theater and then lit to spectacular effect, brings the story about a little girl who goes searching for deer in the woods vividly to life. We paid Ellie a visit as part of our Tundra Illustrator Studio video series to see exactly how she creates her art, which I highly recommend watching on our YouTube channel. Next slide. Speaking of spring animals, we have the extremely cute true story of how one family adopted a baby lamb. This is based on a true story, and photos of the real Albert are included in the back of the book. This is a fresh take on the pet adoption story, and the art and text are simple enough for the youngest reader, though there are lots of curriculum connections, including spring, baby animals, farm life, and Easter. It is very hard for us not to squee and make unintelligible cute noises when looking at this book. For the preschool audience, we think this is a slam dunk. Next slide. Next up, we have Anonymous, and if that author's name looks familiar, it's because I have just spent the past 8 minutes talking to you. Anonymous is my third picture book, and I could not be more excited to talk about it, if a little bit uncomfortable presenting it by myself. Art for the birds, art for the ants, art for the raccoons. Animal-friendly street art is popping up all over the city, but who's creating these masterpieces? There's no explanation, only a name, Anonymous. This book, which I used to call Mouse Banksy in my early drafts, grew out of my love for public art and concern for wild animals living in urban spaces. Illustrator Anna Paroli did an amazing job bringing the various murals and art to life, and I consider myself extremely fortunate to have worked with her. There are some curriculum connections here about art, Banksy, animals, and urban centers, and we're working on activities to help bring that to life as well. Next slide. And our last sneak peek for our spring titles is one of our favorite Tundra creators, Cale Atkinson. You may know his hilarious picture books, Unicorns 101 or The Day Santa Stopped Believing in Harold, and we're thrilled to be publishing Cale's first graphic novel. Simon & Schuster Super Detectives is the first book in a new graphic novel chapter book series starring a boy and a ghost who are not only best friends, but budding sleuths. We first met Simon & Schuster in the picture book Sir Simon, but Cale felt like this dynamic duo had a life beyond the picture book, and his witty dialogue and sight gags are just perfect for the 6 to 10-year-old range. Next slide. So we've included some of our learning resources in the slides here, but if you'd like to know more or see more, you can visit us at www.tundrabooks.com or email us and we're happy to share. Next slide. And we also really love to chat. So please look for us online. We love to talk books. I hope you have a great day. And that's it for me. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Vicki. All right, our final presenter today will be Jenny Choi. Jenny is the Associate Director, School and Library Marketing at Abrams Children's Books, which includes the following imprints: Abrams Books for Young Readers, Amulet Books, Abrams Appleseed, and Magic Cat. Bring us home, Jenny.
Thanks for that great intro, Julie. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for sticking through to the very end. I'm Jenny Choi, Associate Director of School and Library Marketing at Abrams Children's Books. Before I jump into my presentation, I want to make sure you know about this star-studded collection we've built up this year, including 5 stars for Duncan Tonatiuh's latest picture book adaptation of a Mesoamerican creation myth, and a joyous short story collection by and about Muslims edited by Aisha Saeed and S.K. Ali. Hopefully these terrific titles will keep you busy and well-read through the winter months. And now I'm happy to give you a sneak peek at a bountiful spring 2021 season, starting with Itty Bitty Kitty Corn, kitties, unicorn, Shannon Hale, they went bam. I mean, honestly, what else do you want in a picture book? As you've probably deduced, our adorable pink kitty thinks she might be a unicorn. She feels so perfectly unicorny. Of course, there are naysayers like Parakeet and Gecko, but Kitty keeps up her confidence. That is until along comes a stunning unicorn, sweeping his magnificent tail and neighing a mighty neigh. Kitty feels no bigger than a ball of lint. But Unicorn has a secret. He admires Kitty very much, and in fact, he is a kitty corn. And he knew that only another kitty corn would truly see him for who he is. I'll refrain from sharing too many additional interior images. I don't want to send y'all into cuteness overload. Let's just agree how lucky we are that Shannon and Mei Wen put their horns together for the most heart-bursting, tail-twitching, fuzzy-feeling, perfectly unicorny story imaginable for their first picture book collaboration. In Blanca Gomez's Birdhouse, readers meet a young girl and her abuela who find an injured bird while out for a walk. They take it home and patiently care for it until it can fly around the living room. It is fantastic, just like everything at Abuela's house. But a fantastic moment is also bittersweet because the bird's recovery means that it's time to let it fly free. When the snow melts and spring arrives, so does a special visitor. The girl asks, "Can we keep it?" And of course, Abuela had a hunch that the little one would ask this question and has the perfect reply at the ready. Debut author illustrator Blanca Gomez crafts a deceptively simple story brimming with love, wonder, and a deep respect for the natural world. And I'm really happy to say that we'll also have a simultaneous Spanish edition, Un Parejo en Casa. In Grandpa Across the Ocean by Haiwan Yum, a young boy takes his first trip to visit his grandfather in Korea. Upon arrival, everything smells and sounds strange, and our young protagonist can't help but notice how different he and Grandpa are. Grandpa takes naps all the time, he eats yucky foods, he speaks an unfamiliar language. His house is the most boring place on earth. That is until the boy knocks over and breaks Grandpa's orchid pot. Much to the boy's surprise, Grandpa is less concerned about the vase and more concerned about the boy's feelings. And the boy soon learns that he and Grandpa have much more in common than he thought, like how they both love the beach. At its heart, Grandpa Across the Ocean is about the challenges and joys of having a relative who lives far away, proving that even from across the ocean, the grandparent-grandchild relationship is a special one. Kindness never goes out of style, as Christian Trimmer and Keilani Juanita show us in their new picture book, The Little Things. The day after a mighty storm, a girl heads to the beach to return all the sea stars that have washed up on shore to the ocean. Her small act of kindness sends ripples through her community, inspiring a teenager to pack an extra lunch for someone in need, motivating an aspiring actor to volunteer at the school. And each action builds upon the next, so that when the next storm crashes through town, everyone is on hand to help get the starfish back into the water. Full of humor, heart, and the proof of the generosity that we all have inside of us, this book is a welcome reminder that little things can make a really big difference. And with that same spirit of inspiration and paying it forward, we have Old Enough to Save the Planet. Here, readers learn about 12 real-life young climate change activists, like Adeline from Indonesia, who is working to reintroduce native species of plants and animals after severe floods have wreaked havoc on their natural habitats. Or Brooklyn from the US, who at age 7 were the adventures of Earth Saver Girl to teach people why litter is a problem. If kids, they're so smart, they hear what the grown-ups around them are talking about in school, in their homes, on the news, and it can be really scary to hear everything going on with climate change. So author Lal Kirby, a teacher based in the UK, includes a how to help section at the back of the book with simple steps anyone can take to help save the planet and make their voice heard. This title, alongside 4 other picture books, will be featured in an activism-themed teaching guide that I'm working on alongside the good folks at the nonprofit We the People. Be on the lookout for it in early 2021. The People's Painter is a lyrically told, exquisitely illustrated biography of influential Jewish artist and activist Ben Shahn. As an observant child growing up in Lithuania, Shahn yearns to draw everything he sees. And after seeing his father banished by the Tsar for demanding workers' rights, he develops a keen sense of justice too. When Shahn and his family leave their home for America, he brings his sharp artistic eye and his desire to fight for what's right with him. As he grows, he speaks for justice through his art, by disarming classmates who bully him because he's Jewish, by defying his art teacher's insistence that he paint beautiful landscapes rather than true stories. Throughout his career, Shahn portrayed stories of people clamoring for their rights. In this moving and timely portrait, Cynthia Levison and Evan Turk honor an artist, immigrant, and activist whose work still resonates today, a true painter for the people. Keep an eye out for a teaching guide around the book's publication in late April. Did you know that beloved author Jonathan Auxier has a brand new chapter book series called The Fabled Stables? The first book, Will o' the Wisp, came out at the end of October, and I'm excited to tell you about the next book. In The Trouble with Tattletales, Augie, Willa, and Fen are working away in the stables when the building shakes and shudders to make room for a new arrival. The sign on the stall says, The Tattletale. Augie and his magical companions hop through the portal to save this one-of-a-kind creature from danger. But when they find themselves in the town of Rainbow's End, there are tattletales attached to every backside in sight. Augie had expected just one, but these tales are multiplying, and soon enough, Augie has a tale of his own. It's not the tattletale that was in danger, it's the town that needs rescuing from an infestation of tattletales. Augie and his friends set out to discover who set the tales loose and why. The Fabled Stables marry the illustration every page excitement of a picture book with the more complicated story of a chapter book. Readers will fawn over Olga Demedova's vibrant illustrations, and it's pretty obvious to see how much fun Jonathan is having with language and wordplay in these stories. There's even more fun for chapter book readers with a wacky new spin-off series set in the world of the Flytrap Files from Tom Engelberger. The stars here are DJ Funkyfoot and Shrub Baby. DJ Funkyfoot is actually not a DJ. He is a Chihuahua and butler. He longs to buttle like someone out of Downton Abbey, but his parents really wanted him to be a hip hop star, hence his name. Unfortunately, the only gig in town is actually for a nanny, which is emphatically not a butler. The difference? A nanny's job is to say no, while a butler's job is to say yes. DJ Funkyfoot is hired to nanny an adorable baby shrub named Shrub Baby, of course, and she has a real taste for thrills, fertilizer, and fame. So when adventure calls and Shrub Baby says, let's go, DJ Funkyfoot says, very good, my lady, I'll fetch your stroller. It's just a riotous delight that Flytrap fans will love, and it has a touching ending when the two realize they have more in common than they thought. From the dynamic duo of Sam Maggs and Kendra Wells comes Tell No Tales, a graphic novel adventure that follows a ragtag group of female and non-binary pirates. Captain Anne Bonny and the crew spend their days on the high seas, robbing from the rich and steering clear of the redcoats. That is until they cross paths with Woods Roger, a twisted zealot obsessed with eliminating piracy. Anne is unsure of how to defeat Roger until she finds unexpected inspiration from a dream. Readers will fall in love with the hilarious and heartfelt characters inspired by the historical exploits of real-life female pirates. Full of secrecy, solidarity, sorcery, and swashbuckling swordplay, Tell No Tales is about chosen family, facing your fears, and overcoming impossible odds. Thanks a Lot Universe by Chad Lucas is a moving debut, middle grade debut for anyone who's ever felt like they don't belong, which is like all of us, right? Or just me, I don't know. Anyway, Brian has always been anxious, but when he and his brother are placed in foster care and he starts having panic attacks, he doesn't know if he'll ever be normal again. Ezra, on the other hand, has always been popular and is the only one on the basketball team who actively tries to talk to Brian. Recently, Brian's been pulling away and Ezra wants to help him. But Ezra worries that if he's too nice to Brian, his friends will realize that he has a crush on him. When Brian and his brother run away, Ezra has no choice but to take the leap and reach out. And Brian realizes that he could really use a friend right now. Thanks a Lot Universe is all about finding your community and learning to trust your heart. A Shot in the Arm is the next book in Dan Brown's Big Ideas That Changed the World graphic novel nonfiction series. Lady Mary Montagu, who popularized the smallpox inoculation in England in the 1700s, is our narrator. She walks us through the history of vaccinations and the struggle to protect people from infectious diseases. The book does not shy away from addressing the public and political response to vaccination throughout history. If you can believe it, people were protesting in the 1800s against vaccinations. Don does an incredible job of showing us the science behind our immune system and the discovery of bacteria. And of course, the book concludes with an overview of the COVID-19 pandemic with as much up-to-date information as we possibly could before we sent this book out to the printer. Timely and fascinating, A Shot in the Arm is a reminder of vaccines' contributions to public health so far, as well as the millions of lives they can still save. And I want to close us out on a high note, and it doesn't get much bigger than Queen Bee herself. This book is part of the First Name series. It's a highly illustrated nonfiction book that puts readers on a first name basis with some of the most incredible people in history and of today. Before she was an international superstar and feminist icon, Beyonce was a girl from Texas who loved to sing and dance. She first stepped into the spotlight as a member of Destiny's Child and then launched an incredible solo career, becoming an unstoppable force in music and pop culture. Beyond music, she is a successful businesswoman and an activist who brings issues of race and gender into the global conversation. Empowering and inspirational, Beyonce tells the story of the woman who showed us that girls can run the world. So these 12 titles only scratch the surface of all the good stuff we have lined up for your shelves. Head over to our online preview page for the full scoop. And that's it from Abrams. I hope you all take care of yourselves.
Thank you so much, Jenny. And another huge thank you to all of today's wonderful panelists. Tomorrow, all attendees will receive an email containing links to today's slide presentation, title list, certificate of completion, and video recording. For more Booklist webinars, be sure to visit booklistonline.com/webinars, where you can view archives of past webinars and register for upcoming ones, like those you see here. If you haven't already, be sure to check out the Booklist Reader, where Booklist contributors post daily about all things books and library land. Not yet a subscriber? Pair the page-by-page reading experience of print with the convenience of online access at booklistonline.com and lock in print, online, digital, and archive access by taking advantage of this special webinar offer to get Booklist for only $75. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, and one more thank you to our sponsors, Simon & Schuster Children's Publishing, Tundra Books, Charlesbridge Publishing, and Abrams Books. This concludes today's webinar.